A machine looked at this building, and in under a second, according to the people who built it, it decided who inside was worth killing. Not a general, not an analyst with 20 years in the field. A machine. By the end of this, you'll understand why a piece of software might already have more say over who lives and dies in a war than any officer does. And why almost nobody outside a handful of buildings is allowed to check its work. For most of modern history, war ran on human judgment, slow judgment, tired judgment, judgment that second-guessed itself at 3 in the morning. Then came a war that moved faster than any human chain of command could keep pace with by hand. And according to a 2024 investigation by the Israeli outlet, Plus 972 magazine, corroborated by interviews with multiple current and former Israeli intelligence officers, the military had already built something to keep up. They called it Lavender. Here's how the reporting describes it. Lavender is an AI system trained to comb through surveillance data, phone records, social media, movement patterns, group affiliations, and assign nearly every person in Gaza a single number, a score. The probability that this person is a militant. According to that same investigation, at the height of the war, the system had flagged as many as 37,000 people as potential targets. And multiple sources who spoke to the journalists said human review of each name sometimes took as little as 20 seconds. 20 seconds to sign off on what a machine decided about a human life. Now, here's the other side, in full, because you deserve it before you decide what to think. The Israeli military has publicly disputed this reporting. Its position is that Lavender is not used to automatically identify targets, that it's one input among many, and that human officers are required to independently verify any target before a strike, in line with international law. That's the official record. The investigation says something messier happened in practice, under wartime pressure, at scale. We're not in that room. You're not either. What we can tell you is that both of those things, the official policy and what investigative journalists say actually happened, are now part of the public record, and they don't fully agree with each other. Here's the part that should hit closer to home if you're watching this from North America. The US military has been building its own version of this for years. It's called Project Maven. Maven started in 2017 to use AI to scan drone footage and flag people, vehicles, and weapons faster than any human analyst could. By the early 2020s, reporting from the New York Times and Bloomberg described Maven's tools as central to how US Africa Command and other commands process targeting data. In 2018, the project became famous for a different reason. Google was a contractor on Maven. Thousands of its own employees signed a letter protesting their company's role in building AI for weapons targeting. Google didn't renew the contract. The Pentagon simply found other contractors. This is the part nobody tells you when they cover this story like it's a Middle East problem. It's an American technology problem too. Built partly with American companies. Funded partly with American tax dollars. One of the companies that stepped in after Google walked away is one you've probably heard of, maybe even seen in your own brokerage app, Palantir Technologies. Palantir builds data analysis software used by the US military, US immigration enforcement, American police departments, and, since January 2024, it has a publicly announced partnership with Israel's Ministry of Defense to supply AI products for the war effort. The company says its tools are used for data integration and decision support. not autonomous targeting. That distinction matters. A lot rides on exactly where the line sits between decision support and the decision itself. And the reporting on Lavender suggests that during an active war, under real pressure, with real casualties mounting on every side, that line gets thinner than any press release wants to admit. Here's the part that should actually bother you, regardless of where you stand on the war itself. The U.S. Department of Defense's main policy on autonomous weapons, Directive 3000.09, was first issued in 2012. It was updated in 2023, requiring senior review for autonomous and AI-enabled weapon systems. That's a real update. It's also 11 years after the original, in a field where the underlying technology now changes every few months, not every few years. Internationally, there's still no binding treaty governing autonomous weapons systems specifically. The United Nations has talked about this for over a decade without landing one. The technology is sprinting. The law is still finding its shoe. 20 seconds. That's how long, according to the reporting, a person sometimes had to review what a machine decided about another person's life. The military disputes how that process actually worked. The journalists stand by their sourcing. Both of those things are true at the same time. This isn't one secret program in one building, in one country, you can mentally file away as someone else's problem. It's an industry now, spread across companies, allies, and contracts most people will never read, including some funded by people watching this video. The question isn't whether AI is already helping decide who lives and who doesn't in modern war. Multiple independent investigations say it already is. The real question is who's actually checking its work, and whether we checked it and we verified it mean the same thing when the review window is 20 seconds long. If this is your first time here, subscribe. This is only the first episode.